Good morning everyone and welcome to the class. In the previous class we have started the chapter the Congress system, the challenges and restoration. So under this chapter we have seen that in 1964 Pandit Nehru died, and after his death the question was not that now who will lead the country, but actually the question was what will happen after Nehru. Will India be able to continue like a democratic country? Will India continue to be an integrated country, or it will be disintegrated, or there will be uh, starting of dictatorship or military rule in India? So all these type of speculation were there in the mind of the people across the world. But our leaders proved all these wrong, because what we find that transition of power first time when Nehru died, it was agreed by consensus that Lal Bahadur Shastri will become the next leader of the Congress Parliamentary Party, and thus he became the Prime Minister. And we have discussed how in the year 1966, in January 1966, again Lal Bahadur Shastri was no more, and after his death there was conflict. There arose conflict regarding the post of Prime Minister, because there were two contenders. One was Morarji Desai and the other was Indira Gandhi. Morarji Desai was a veteran Congress leader, and he was also the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Bombay, which was a combined state of Gujarat and Maharashtra at that time. And he has a very long experience of politics as well as administration. On the other hand, Indira Gandhi was there, who was the daughter of Prime Minister Nehru. And we see that in the cabinet of Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi was information minister, and she also has some experience as Congress president, but she was not having too much experience. She was not having long experience of politics or administration. So this contest was there between these two candidates, and for that election took place. The MPs of Congress decided the matter through election, and in this what happened that there was secret ballot. Okay, and in this secret ballot, what was the result? The result was that two-thirds of the Congress MPs wanted that Indira Gandhi should be the Prime Minister. And here we find that there was a hidden reason. There may be hidden reason for making Indira Gandhi Prime Minister, because it was the there were such a senior leaders in Congress, and they were of the opinion that Indira Gandhi was not having any kind of experience of politics. Whatever experience she was having, that was very of short period. So they thought that she will not be able to lead the party and the country. And moreover, this decade, the decade of 1960, was full of crisis and problems. So it was the opinion of the senior leaders of Congress that she will just become a puppet in the hands of these senior leaders. But all these speculation proved wrong, because within a year Indira Gandhi proved herself as a leader. And now we will focus on the situation which was prevailing at that time when Indira Gandhi took over as the Prime Minister of India. We find that at that time there was so many problems were there, like India was engaged in war with China in 1962, then with Pakistan in 1965, and because of these wars, the expenditure of the country was increased very much. We have to spend a lot on for the purpose of military preparedness, and whatever sources, whatever fund can be spent on developmental activities, now these fund was to be expend on military expenditure. So this was the problem. Then again another problem was also there, because what we find that during this time monsoon was also failed, and in various parts of the country there were drought, and this led to the decline in agricultural production, and this led to the acute food shortage. Especially we have discussed this in the previous chapter also. Then when we see that the state of Bihar was facing this problem, okay, and then we see that not only Bihar, but actually this food crisis was there in all the states of the country. In almost everywhere this food problem was there. And then we see that not only agricultural production was declined, but industrial production was also declined in this period. Why there was a decline in the industrial production? Because there was the money which can be expended on in order to increase the industrial production, that cannot be spent on the for the purpose of industries, but that money was to be spent on military preparedness. So this was the main reason for the backwardness of the country. And in this situation there was a huge pressure from US also, because India was taking food aid from US, and US was pressurizing India, and under the pressure of the US, the first major decision which was taken by the government of Indira Gandhi was devaluation of rupee, which was done by the government of India. Devaluation means to decline, to reduce the value of rupees. And for example, we can see if for a dollar we have to spend ₹5 earlier, but now after devaluation we have to spend ₹7. So this was the problem which India was facing at that time. And this economic crisis, this economic situation was the reason for the price rise. Price was rising very sharply, and all the essential commodities were sold at a very high rate. So this caused unrest among the people. People started protesting. Not only price rise was the problem, unemployment was also growing at a very high rate, and the overall economic condition was very bad. So many burns and hartals were taking place in the country, because there was so many demands from the side of the workers, and the government was not fulfilling the demands. So there was dissatisfaction, there was unrest among the people of the country, and the government was of the view that this was not the problem of people's problem. This is not a genuine problem, but the government was considering it as a law and order problem. So this attitude of the government was not correct, and this actually increased the problem. Then again we see what happens during this time a new party emerged from CPIM. We have discussed in the previous class that in 1964 Communist Party was divided into two parts. One was Communist Party of India and the other was Communist Party of India Marxist. And now what we find that this CPIM was again splitted. A new group was came out from this CPIM, and this new group was CPIML, Communist Party of India Marxist Leninist. And this CPIML believed in the armed agrarian struggle. This party was for the peasants, and they worked for the upliftment of the peasants, but their method, their way of achieving the goal of upliftment of peasants was violent. They believed in violence, and on the principle of this violence they organized peasants, and there was so much unrest among the peasants also. And then we see that this period also witnessed Hindu-Muslim riots. So this was the situation, overall situation of the country. And what we find when a country is facing such a problem, and that too under the leadership of a new prime minister. So the politics, now the politics was it was very natural that politics will be affected by these events, and politics will affect these events. So there was a two-way relationship. Now what we find that the opposition parties, now they are trying to utilize this atmosphere, utilize this situation. So the opposition party is always there to oppose the government. The prime function of the opposition party is to present an alternative to the government before the people. And now this opportunity was there for the opposition party, and it started organizing people. It started to lead the public protest, and it also started to pressurize the government. And it was also realized by the opposition parties that what is the reason of the winning of the Congress. Why always Congress is in a winning situation? Now they were of the opinion that Congress wins because the anti-Congress votes get divided, because there are so many opposition parties, and people give their vote to the non-Congress parties, but these non-Congress parties are not single parties there, but there are so many parties. So what happens that the non-Congress votes are getting divided, and this is the reason that Congress always managed to win the election and comes in power. So now it was decided that all the opposition parties should unite. They should contest the election together. Then in that case what will happen, that the non-Congress vote will not divide, and in this situation they will be able to win the election and form the government. But this type of thought is not correct. What is the problem with this? The problem is that it was decided that all the opposition parties will be united against Congress. So there was no ideology. All these parties were having different ideologies. and not only different, but they were having conflicting ideology. So in this situation, if in spite of having conflicting ideologies, uh, political parties are coming together only for the reason of defeating Congress, only for the reason of winning election. So this is not going to work for long. But whatever is the consequences, at that time the opposition parties decided that they will contest the election unitedly, and they entered into electoral adjustment. How much seat should be there for which party? Okay, so all the sharing of seats and electoral adjustment was decided between different parties who were in the opposition of the Congress. And the opposition parties were of the opinion that this is the appropriate time to make Congress out of power, because Congress was under an inexperienced leader, Indira Gandhi. She was an inexperienced leader. Not only this, but there was factionalism was also growing in the Congress because of that Indira Gandhi. There were many who were not supporting Indira Gandhi, and this kind of factionalism was arising, because we have seen that when Indira Gandhi became the Prime Minister, before that there was great competition between Morarji Desai and Indira Gandhi. So factionalism was also there. So now the non-Congress parties were of the opinion that this is the most appropriate time to make Congress out of power. They can topple the Congress. This is an opportunity to topple the Congress. And at this time only we find that Ram Manohar Lohia, who was the socialist leader, this Ram Manohar Lohia has given the concept of non-Congressism. He was the great leader of his time. Ram Manohar Lohia, and he given the concept of non-Congressism. So now we will discuss what is this non-Congressism. It was that he gave the concept of non-Congressism, and it meant that if they are getting united against the Congress, it was not for the power. They are not they don't have any lust for power. They are not forgetting their ideological differences only for grabbing the power. But if they are uniting against Congress, there is reason behind it. And what is the reason? Reason is that the Congress rule was totally undemocratic, and it was not according to the interest of the poor people. It was not serving the interest of the poor people. The prices were rising so high, people were not able to purchase the basic needs of their life. The workers were dissatisfied, the peasants were dissatisfied. All the country was facing this type of situation because the government was not doing anything for the upliftment of the poor. Government was not doing anything to solve the problems of the common people. So they are very much dissatisfied with this party, the Congress party. Its rule is not democratic. It's not for the poor section of the society. So that is the reason that now these opposition parties are coming together. They have forgotten all the ideological differences between them, and now they are one because they want to root out the Congress, because then only India can again be a democratic country. So in order to restore the democracy, in order to solve the problems of the common people, it is very much necessary, essential to root out the Congress party. It is very much essential that the Congress must not be in the power. So we are getting united not for the power but for reclaiming democracy for the poor. Okay, so this is the पॉलिटिक्स. यहाँ पर जो हम जो करते हैं और उसके पीछे जो हमारा मेन मोटिव होता है, दैट मोटिव, उस मोटिव को छुपा करके एक आइडियोलॉजी का फॉर्म दे दिया जाता है. सो इस तरह के ये जो नॉन कांग्रेसिज्म था, दिस इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू, विच वाज प्रोपोगेटेड बाय राम मनोहर लोहिया. And Lohia was a real socialist leader. He was a genuine socialist leader. So this is the situation. This is the background which was there at the time of election. Okay, now we see that the elections were held. So we will see that in the month of February in the year 1967, the Lok Sabha elections were held, and the elections for the state assemblies were also held together. And at that time, whatever situation was prevailing, whatever problems was prevailing, we have discussed that problem, and we have also seen that this was the time when polarization of political forces was happening. Now, what is this polarization? What do we mean by polarization? This polarization is a word which has been, the original word is polar. From this polar, the word polarization has been derived, and this pole is from poles. We know there are two poles in a magnet, north pole and south pole. And these two poles are totally different from each other. They always go in the opposite direction. So in the same way, we see that in the political arena there were two poles. One pole was Congress, and the another pole was anti-Congress. Anti-Congress was the union of all the opposition parties. Okay, so this polarization was done for the first time in India's politics, and now it was a type of bi-party system. There were two parties. One was Congress and another was anti-Congress. Okay, so this situation was there, and then we see the results. What was the result of the fourth general election? We see that in the fourth general election, the result was very different. What we experienced in the first three general election, that the Congress won 3/4 of the seats in the Lok Sabha. But now in the fourth general election, the number of seats decreased drastically, and not only the number of seats but its share of voting also decreased. And though Congress was able to get the majority, but its share of seats and share of voting both have decreased at a very large extent. Okay, and other than this, what we find that half of the ministers who were in the Indira Gandhi's cabinet, they were also defeated. The veteran leaders of Congress like K. Kamraj, S.K. Patil and Atulya Ghosh, they all were defeated in the election, and this was a great shock for the Congress. This was a kind of political earthquake. The results of the 4th general election was just like the political earthquake. For Congress, and the results not only of the Lok Sabha but the results of state legislative assemblies were also very disturbing for the Congress. We find that in 7 states Congress was not able to win the majority. It lost majority in 7 states. These 7 states were Haryana, Punjab, Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh, then West Bengal, Odisha, Madras, Kerala. At that time, Tamil Nadu was named Madras. Okay, so these were the states. These were the states where Congress was not able to win the majority. And in some states it also happened that it was able to win the majority, but defection took place because at that time there was no anti-defection law. So what happened that some of the MLAs defected from the Congress party, and they formed the government with other parties. So in this way there were total 9 states where the Congress lost power, and this was for the first time this kind of result was experienced by the Congress. And in all these states, in all these 9 states, the most important name is Madras. Why? Because Madras was the only state which was where a non-Congress party secured a majority on its own. So it was the first state. And what was the party which was able to secure majority on its own? The party was Dravid Munnetra Kazhagam, DMK. So this question comes in 1 mark question. Name the state or name the party which secured a majority on its own in the for the first time in the 4th general election. So your answer will be DMK, Dravid Munnetra Kazhagam, not the short form but the full form, Dravid Munnetra Kazhagam in Madras. And what was the reason behind this winning condition of DMK? The reason was that DMK was the party which led the anti-Hindi agitation in Madras. We have discussed all these things, that there was anti-Hindi feeling in the states of South India, and they always protested against making Hindi as a national language. And in this protest, in this anti-Hindi agitation, DMK was the party who led the people. And because of this anti-Hindi, because of the role played by DMK in this anti-Hindi agitation, it was able to widen its base of popularity, and it was able to win the election. So other than Madras, in other states like Punjab, Haryana, UP, MP, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, Kerala, what happened that there was no single party was able to get the clear majority, and in these states coalition government was formed. Coalition government which was consisted of different non-Congress parties. Okay, and in this way we see that this was the result of the 4th general election, and which was very shocking for Congress. And at that time it was also said that if you take a train from Delhi up to Havra, you will not pass through a single Congress ruled state, because from Delhi to Havra all the states are ruled by non-Congress parties. So this type of situation arose. It was really very strange, not only for the Congress party but for the people also, because they are experiencing that now the domination of Congress was going to be over. The leaders were also afraid. So this is all for today, and now we will meet in the next class.